is I want to talk to him about the publications that he has put together, the books that he has written, to make certain that we understand, me, you, and the audience out there, we understand what he went through to make this happen. Tell us about this. Now, what made you decide to put this on paper?
For me, when I learned that things were not accurate as they were told.
What do you mean accurate as they were told? You're going to have to help me understand this. What do you mean accurate as it was told?
Well, many times people teach things, especially when they're dealing with the Bible. Because see, background about me and my Bible, my grandmother from my mother's side, my mother's mother, when I was 12 years old, she indoctrinated me into reading the Bible. Not as a religious person, but as a person reading the Bible. So I went from Genesis to Revelation, back and forth over the years.
So what do you mean? So you were reading the Bible as literature, you weren't reading it as a spiritual book. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, the spiritual part, yes, but just not religious. Because if I would identify as trying to be a Christian, then I'm trying to find the only things that suit for Christians. And, so I read the book in its entirety. So as I got older and I saw people telling history, I'm like, hold on, that's not how I say it in the Bible, because so I said one day if I ever get the opportunity to travel over to some of these places in the Bible, that I would go there. And I would research it and make sure if it's accurate, if it's direct. And so therefore many of these, my last 3 publications became books because of this. And so I documented all the things pertaining to the Bible and to the actual site and if it's accurate with the history. And so these, like this book right here, it's one of the most important books as far as it's called Retracing the Messiah. But not 2,000 years, but 3,600 years ago.
So this book right here that you're showing us right now, right?
Yes.
Tell us about it again. He has you on camera.
Yes, this book here is based on retracing the Messiah of 3,600 years ago, from Jerusalem or Israel or Palestine to Egypt, all the way down to Ethiopia. And most of this is coming from the Bible scriptures, and most of the places mentioned there, I've taken a journey there to verify. So that's what this book pertains to. So it's not really adding or changing the doctrine, it's just with more information on there. This book here, this is based on the series, and I retraced the lineage. We're starting with the biblical family of Abraham, Ishmael, and mother Hagar, Dinah, the 13th of the tribe. So I go in depth with those books and just use the Bible and then go to these places and with the photos verify that, hey, this is real,
Are Ethiopians black?
Yes. But the term, I don't know what they mean by black exactly, but in the term, Abyssinians was the original name of Ethiopians, and that was from the empire that they had that stretched to Israel, all the way to Saudi Arabia. And so from there, to say black is just I don't know what to call that. I mean, just children of the Most High. People say tribe of Judah or Yahuda, which is basically you have that tribe in Ethiopia and then you have that tribe here in America. So you can say black, you can say brown, you can say this, but you still got bloodline that's coming from Judah. So And that has nothing to do with religion. Most people mix that with religious thinking, say, oh, you got to be Jewish as a religion. No, I'm Jewish because of blood. And that cannot be erased. I can practice Judaism, Christianity, but that's still, it's not gonna stay with me. That's just something that we go through to learn. But your bloodline, African Americans, they have a rich bloodline that goes past the slavery as actually the Native Americans. And I've been screaming this for years and years and years and years and years. But when my grandmother, from my mother's side, we have Ethiopian heritage. But you can see when I put her pictures, her great grandmother from there, you can see Native American features. You know, so it's like we have a rich heritage. It's just that someone took our history, you know, and so I'm like, someone or some group decided that a part of our history
made a decision.
Oh, it was a decision made, a council. They counseled and said, this is how we're gonna make people think, and well, we gotta take this information away. And like one of my books, I reproduced the book of Enoch that was translated by Malachi Zadok, because that book had a lot of information that the churches in England, Ethiopia, they decide on their own to take that book out the Bible. I'm like, how do you come along and decide who? I mean, if you
so now you're gonna go Nicene Council on me. Nicene Creed. Is that what you're gonna do?
I want to, because you know I don't want to go too deep and too far into that, but you know. Because the whole point is, you can always go back into the past, but we have to say what is right now on the table. You know, are we going to look back and say we have anger now, or someone did this, or I get in rulership, I'm going to do this to them? Then see, that's the problem. You know, we're looking at, okay, this was an experience we went through, we survived it. How do we make better for ourselves and for our future? And if we don't have any blueprint, let's find someone, or let's look for ourselves.
But when you start talking about the removal of books, for me, you're talking about the council at Nicaea.
Right.
You and I both know that. You and I both know that when you start talking about this thing that was put together that winded up being called the Bible,
yes,
or Biblica, or the Logos, we know from everything that we've ever read, from everything that we have ever studied, we know that was purposefully done. The removal of certain things. And then I heard you also mention one of our master teachers, Malachi Z. York. What thrusted you? Because you and I talked about this last night. What was your thrust? How was he a part of what you've done with these?
Well, Malachi, I actually have met him before. And just learning and reading from the books, I continue doing research, and so the information he's put out is accurate. You know, whether people look at the man and try to make whatever situation out of him, that's their business. But you can't dodge the information. You know, I don't care where it's coming from. The truth comes from. If it comes from a dog or a cat or whoever, if it's truth, it's truth. So I knew that when I researched over there, the book of Enoch and the information he had was precision, meaning that the source he came from with that and the source I seen is the same source. So I said, you know what? Let me put this material together. And plus now add to what I've learned from that and places I've gone to. So I put that together as a continuance of not just his work, but the Bible, the truth of the doctrine and the scriptures that's been here before us. So it's about, for me, just getting everything back in line so people can see now. This is Enoch. You decide if you want to like this book or not, but we're not going to let someone decide to hide a book from you. You know what I mean? We don't know, is that book gonna make you a millionaire? What's gonna happen? You know, and who are they to decide this? So even today, this stuff is still going on. So my whole thing, and many of my books, I have biblical scriptures all through it, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from the King James. It's meaning that it's a scripture that has something to do with this chapter. It may not be the same time frame, but the situation is identical. Or better yet saying, I feel that the people of the past in the Bible are us, the same people of today. And we're still going through this cycle. We still reading about ourselves. So that's why when they throw out images, it leaves us confused because we don't know we're looking at ourselves, you know. So I think that hopefully because of Malachi, he had information that explained things and went in depth. I mean, this man talking about forks and pyramid structure buildings, and now today these people are over there trying to go off the idea of his science, and so it's accurate. So again, you can say whatever about the messenger, but if the information you can't touch, then that's the information I'm going for.